Alex, did it feel strange for you today? I mean, third and long conversions were happening, or I think they started out 3 of 4, but you finally got that under control. That was just a different look that we saw from your defense.
Yeah, just really disappointing. Obviously early in a number of facets, but that was the most glaring thing is you work so darn hard, dang hard on first and second down to give yourself those situations, and then you obviously let them off the hook. And like anything, until you watch it, you give them ample amount of credit in terms of your opponent. I'm not sure that video is going to suggest that was our issue. Probably more self-inflicted in some of those scenarios. And like you said, it is an issue that kind of popped up today, and then maybe at some point, did you turn the tide? I like to think we did, maybe till the fourth quarter. But no, it's a disappointing thing. Football's hard, and there's a down and distance that attached to it that you want to try to get the sticks in your favor, and when you do, good Lord, you got to take advantage of. So yeah, very disappointing.
Alex, you ran a couple of different things to try to corral Williams. It's a tough chore, but talk about your effort today trying to get him stopped.
Yeah, I think one of the things, selective execution continues to be one of our issues, and selective execution says that if we run the same call 10 times, it may look different 6 of them. You're sitting there, and you got to point the finger at yourself as coaches. And there's 2 extremes. The one extreme, and not necessarily does it ever hit those extremes, but are you not coaching enough? Are you overcoaching? And maybe the truth lies somewhere in the middle. But that's something we got to analyze as a coaching staff, because you're seeing it a trend through 5 weeks, and I got to look at it. Again, specifically with me, are we telling them too much from the standpoint that execution is tied into one? Are they looking for a play? Are they what is it? What continues to be our issue? Again, the phrase being selective execution. If it looked the same every single time we ran this call, this happened, well then obviously I got to do a better job and we got to call something else. But when the same call looks different versus similar plays, then we got to look at it and analyze it as coaches. And so that's something obviously we got to do.
Alex, Lincoln was pretty critical after Tech about the defensive line, but he said he felt like they performed a lot better today. Obviously, Williams is tough, but he felt like they did a pretty good job up there.
Yeah, I think not watching the film. You look at just perspective on the sideline. I think early on letting them off the hook in terms of some situational deals as mentioned previously, and then obviously our inability to finish kind of really changes your attitude maybe in the post-game press conference, and so in any event, no, I think again, without looking at it, I thought they took the challenge, and something that we'll continue to have to do. It starts up front, and obviously back end's got to hold up as well.
I noticed after the first touchdown drive that Kansas had, Kenneth kind of gathered the group up. What was that conversation like, and does that kind of speak to his leadership? Yeah,
I think like anything. It's one drive. You can be as disappointed as you want to be in it. You're never immune to it. Whether it's self-inflicted or a lead execution by your opponent, those things happen. And what you can't do is you can't let one drive all of a sudden dictate your day. You can't let that one drive dictate your quarter. You got to find a way to kind of regroup in those things. But no, I think that does. We're itching for leadership. And the number one way you lead is you play at a certain level to demand the respect of the guys in the room. They can say whatever they want, but if you don't back it up, you lose credibility. And so he's one of those guys for us, and so that's something that's got to continue.
Lincoln has referenced before his first year as offensive coordinator here. He referenced it again a minute ago, and just how you want to sort of get where you're going, and it's that you can't get there super fast. Do you have the same perspective? You've revamped defenses before, so maybe it becomes old hat that you get used to. You can't be in Week 5 where you're going to be in Week 12. But
sure.
Is it hard to sort of think in those terms, or is it easy after you've done it?
Well, I think some of it you would say is an issue. Is it expected? I guess. In some regards, probably yes. You're dealing with, in terms of the scheme, you're dealing with, a room full of freshmen. It's not as if they have the cumulative reps to say, okay, this happened 2 years ago against this opponent or on this call. So they don't have those things to draw from. I'd be crushed if our effort was poor. Just in terms of, as you revamp things, you just say, if we got effort, we got a shot. if I'm sitting here, I'd be demoralized right now if I thought that we just played with poor effort, if our issues are tied into effort. And I'll flip my switch real quick if I turn on that film and that shows up at all. But I don't believe it did. I think, as you go through it, if we had an issue in Wednesday practice and the guys look at you, in terms of saying, okay, well, what's the big deal, coach? It's just a Wednesday. Well, now you got video of it happening on a Saturday. It happens on a Thursday, and so some of that stuff, to your point, is things you have to go through. It just is. It doesn't make it okay. You can't be accepting of it and just say, well, chalk 2019 up to a learning process, But there's a good luck, bad luck kind of maybe some type of balance that you want to get to. If there's something that you can learn from in a win, give me the adversity and we get a chance to learn from it. In the moment, sure, you don't want to go through those things. But, again, fortunate for us up until this point, we can learn some of these lessons in a win through 5 weeks. And we got to stop having to learn the lesson on Saturdays. We got to learn them during the week.
Alex, you covered the passing game pretty well until late in the game.
Yeah.
What happened late in the game,
Well, we didn't do a very good job as coaches. That's it always comes back to us. We got to do a good job of convincing these guys how appropriate and important it is to finish. They don't timestamp your rep with the score. And so if you take your performance personal in terms of playing appropriate technique, and again, you're not immune to it. Not suggesting that some of them, maybe there's perfect technique we got to out execute. I don't believe that's the case, but we got to do a better job of convincing these guys how important and how personal their performance is. One on an individual basis. Let's be selfish. Let's be selfish enough not to have that clip late in the football game. And then obviously, from a team standpoint, let's make sure that we wouldn't do that to our football team, because I want to finish the right way. This team has an expectation, and my teammates expect me to get it done for 60 minutes. Made a major emphasis this week about 60 minutes, and was disappointed that we didn't quite get that done.
Alex, can you talk about specifically what you're getting out of Delarian, because he played almost every snap today?
Yeah.
I don't know, by the time I came down to the field from the elevator, he got out, but he seemed to flash a lot today and play.
Well, and he is. I mean, he's become one of those guys we just don't want to take out. I don't want to take him out of the game. I trust him to make the communications, which is a critical part of it. I trust that he's going to make the play. I think he's going to have a disappointing rep in terms of getting the PI called late in the game. Negated the only takeaway we would have had on the day, which is another disappointing part of it. But no, he's held up very well. He's playing fast, and been very pleased with him.
Apologies if you've answered this already. What do you know about Texas? Not the team, the rivalry.
Well, I know it's one of the greatest rivalries in sport. I mean, I do, and it's something that there's not a college football fan, which I think all of us coaches we want to get into. There's some level to that doesn't know about that and have an understanding in terms of the respect factor between both schools, but both football programs, and it's a war each year, and so you got to make sure that you respect it that way. It's Game 6, but you can't kind of go down that road and say it's just Game 6. It's not just anything. I know enough about it to suggest that.